Hey guys, welcome back to a really special episode of Real Talk. I'm Bill Poet.
And I'm Dr. Laura Ciel. We love the fact that you're showing up here. We love the fact that you're sharing with people you care about. We love that you want to have more, that you're looking for, that you're yearning for more fun, more joy, more
passion, love, intimacy, the things in life that really matter. Yeah. That was the goal of this show.
Absolutely.
The goal of this show was to begin a dialogue about, not superficial things, the things that resonate with our hearts, the things that resonate with who we are, and bring those conversations up and begin a dialogue. And what's really fun is the intention is for the dialogue to not end here, for you guys to carry it on with the people that you love, with the people that you care about. So thank you. And remember, if you want to get a question on the show, just post it right here underneath. And we've got a really special episode tonight because we're sharing not only with our Real Talk audience, but we've got our Love Advanced team members who are going to be going through this. So we got a big show for you guys tonight.
Absolutely. So let's start with this question. Sometimes when I'm having sex with my partner, I don't feel connected. What do you recommend I do? Makes me think of intimacy, and it makes me think of how sometimes we confuse sex with intimacy. And you can be having sex and not be intimate at all. Physically you're intimate, obviously, but we're talking about emotionally, energetically intimate. And you can be very intimate with someone and not necessarily be having physical sex with them. So by intimacy,
okay. Just what you were sharing, this is about courage. This is about the capacity to tear the walls down. This question is about connection and your willingness to open up your heart, your willingness to expose yourself on the deepest level, because when you take those walls down and you allow someone access, that's what intimacy is. It isn't this idea of going out into the world and giving someone the presentation of the idea of who you think they want you to be. This is and it requires safety.
It requires courage. It's that courage of showing up and allowing yourself to be vulnerable. That's really where the yumminess of life lies, because if you're not able to show up with the open heart and being vulnerable, you're shutting out so much that is possible. So back to the question, as far as you're with your partner, you're having sex, and there's something that feels there's a disconnect there. So first of all, thank goodness that you notice it.
Right.
Right. that you're aware and aware enough and conscious enough to realize that there's something that maybe could be tweaked a little bit to be even more beautiful. So,
and if I can, what you're describing, I think happens to everyone. At certain times, we do disconnect. At certain times, we detach, and so being gentle with yourself, and then being open to recognizing what Laura said. This, because it should feel
good.
My God, that when you can combine intimacy with making love, you get to touch something that's beyond profound. But it really requires the desire to connect, the capacity and the courage to lower your walls, to expose yourself, and then it requires safety. You need to be with a partner that you trust. You need to be in an environment where, and that, I think what happens sometimes is we jump into sex, and I don't know if I can trust this person. I don't know if there's a foundation for safety that is going to be required before I really start opening myself up and being vulnerable and having that sense of connection. And then when you can bring those two together, I think that's kind of where the magic starts.
I think that's where most people yearn for that, but there's that fear, there's that concern, what if this, what if that? And what the other thing that jumped out in this question is all relationships go through shifts. It's not that you achieve a level and it stays like that and it's constant. Nothing's constant. So there are things that happen in life that that can tend to have us maybe retreat a little bit or go into fear. And being able to really name that, be conscious of it and name it, is another way. You know, let's assume that you who is asking this question is in a long-term relationship, and maybe the sex life has been amazing and the intimacy has been amazing, and maybe something has come up, I don't know, financial problem, an issue with a child, maybe there's been a death in the family, a change in career, a move. There's so many different things that could happen, and maybe there's this, you know, the fear starts to set in. So,
I got to jump in because this is, you know, and I can't explain why it happens, but what I've experienced and had shared is, you know, when quite often for men, when a lot of the outside stresses of the world come around, men desire that physical intimacy because they think it's going to open up something. And then for a lot of women, when those things start to happen, they want to have that emotional intimacy and connection. So we're going to talk about how do you build that bridge and come back to that place where you really can be connected, and from a place of connection, sex is incredible. From, you know, and just one last thing to toss in the mix, a lot of people use sex to not connect.
Right.
You know, they use it as a barrier. Well, we're just going to do this, and so you're not going to really get to see into me, which is what this is about. So, great question.
It's a great question, and there's so much that we can say about it. There, you know, and we talk about this in our trainings. But for tonight, should we give them?
Yeah, let's give you we're going to give you a simple exercise. And again, what's the end? The end is that, can you imagine being so connected to your partner? Can you imagine having so much trust and faith and knowing the why behind their relationship? That when you're going to bump, which happens, and you have those frictions, instead of retreating, you lean in and you show up and you engage, and from that, the relationship becomes elevated, the intimacy becomes elevated, and the way you make love becomes elevated. So that's where that's where we're guiding you to. We've got a great exercise. It's a simple exercise, and it's going to be that roadmap and that pathway back to that connection and intimacy that you were looking for when you asked the question.
Right. So have fun with this. Set a time aside for you and your partner to have alone together that's dedicated to this, and it only needs to be about 10 minutes. And there will be a sharing partner and there will be a receiving partner. And the sharing partner their job is to have the courage to show up with something, to share something that's really turns them on, that
lights you up. Yeah, that you're really passionate about.
And that you maybe dream about, and maybe you don't share with people because of fear. They're going to criticize this, or they're going to say that's not possible. But this is an opportunity to share something that's really, that you hold dear to your heart, that's really meaningful to you, and that you're passionate about. So the job of the sharing partner is that, to have the courage to show up, to be vulnerable, to share that dream, to share that passion that you have with your partner. And the receiving partner, your job is to hold beautiful, protected space for your partner. That means no commenting, criticizing, judging what they're saying, but really listening. And when I say listening to the words, but also listening to the energy and watching the way that your partner, how their body is, how their eyes are as they're sharing this with you. So then what
let me just jump in for 1 sec. So guys, the idea is, if I'm sharing, I'm going to be bringing my partner on a ride. I want them to feel the joy, feel the passion, and then the person who's receiving, just be open. So there's no critical it's like, oh my God, it feels so good to get drawn into that dream and that joy of your partner. It's an incredible experience.
Right. So then obviously halfway through, whatever time you set aside for this, you shift and don't say anything. Don't comment, don't judge, don't say anything, just shift. And then that sharing partner becomes the receiving partner and really is open, creates this beautiful space, and the person who was receiving before shares something that they're really passionate about, and that's something that's really meaningful to them. And after that sharing is over, we really recommend that you don't go through and analyze it. Don't go through and cut it down, certainly.
No, it's not about that.
This is a fun thing. This is a sharing thing. And what we really want you to get out of it is, as the receiver, feeling that energy and going on the ride, as you said, and as that partner who's sharing, to take your partner on a ride, share a little bit of who you really are with them in this small moment. And we recognize that the first time that you do this, if it's new to you, it's going to feel a little bit odd, and it's going to be a little scary. And you might choose one of those passions or desires that's a little bit closer to the surface and not as deep down in your heart. But if you do this on a regular basis, you'll notice that you'll start to share a little bit more and a little bit more. And so this is an example of that intimacy that we talked about. This is an example of being able to create the intimacy that leads then to that beautiful sexual experience that's very intimate and passionate and
it's the best feeling in the world. And just, guys, here's the only thing I want to really emphasize. The role of the receiver is so important, because I've got to make my partner feel safe. There's not going to be judgment. There's not going to be criticism. So there's going to be a sense of safety. And I'm just going to open up, and I'm going to go for a ride. And I'm listening energetically. And my partner gets to do the same thing for me. And we promise you, we do this at workshops all over the world. The impact is profound. Thank you, guys, because this has been a really, really big one. We love Real Talk. We love having you on the show.
We love your questions. We love your comments. So we'd love to hear how this works or doesn't work for you.
Yeah, share some feedback on that. And until next week,
keep on advancing.